first film which I was part of making was called All the Time in the World. For this film, I was the cinematographer throughout. Apart from the scene which I had to act in due to our actress dropping out on us last minute. The basic outline of this film is a guy with OCD whose day has to be perfect in order for him to be fulfilled with his own world. However, if he messes something up in his day, such as burning toast or spilling water, he uses his wristwatch to reset the day, for it to then be repeated the same. The inspiration from this was from the film Happy Death Day, as her day kept resetting in it every time she died. I was very happy with how the footage which I filmed turned out. I feel that I really managed to get the shots right in order to portray the idea of the character having OCD. I did this by trying to centre some of my shots while still experimenting with some creative angles and techniques, such as the focus pull seen in the water shots. The all-round storyline for this film was good and well thought out. However, I feel that the scriptwriter and director could have thought over the editing and spoken lines in slightly more detail, as it's hard to understand what is going on and there was not much of a payoff or climax. From this film, I have learned that a good storyline takes a lot of thought and cannot be rushed, and I will think about this further in future films. There were no main health and safety hazards to consider while filming this. We used LED lighting throughout and it created a soft appeal with contrasting tones. The music in the film was made specially for the film, and I feel that it matches well with the character and helps to create tension when he messes things up. I think that the colour grading in this film was good, however a bit too oversaturated in some places, and the characters' faces especially looked a bit orange. Continuity throughout the film is good, and the editor's use of a black screen between days helps to emphasise the day change, which I feel is quite pleasing to the viewer. Character development is seen throughout the film as a kind of mission when he progresses further into his day before messing something up, and at the end of the film, him resetting his day is a reason for him missing out on love. There is no pivotal event as such in the film, as the whole way through there are major occurrences and changes. There is definitely an open ending at the end, as there are multiple ways in which it could have turned out. This leaves the audience guessing. Overall in this film, I feel that the idea of the character having OCD and him restarting the day really came through in the cinematography by shot choices and the choices made by the scriptwriter and director. I feel that the storyline in this film is clearer than some films we made in Term 1 because of the repetition of days when the character messes something up, as highlighted by his facial expressions. The standard target audience would be teens to young adults and potentially people who are suffering from OCD as well, as they can relate to the scenario. I believe that the film could have potentially related culturally more by adding more cultural themes, whether it being through set design or character choice. However, the neat and tidy settings and the appearance of the character fitted well to what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Good. The second film which I was part of making was called Broken Home. For this film, I was the producer, and part of my job was to get the actresses, location and set design. I was also in control of most of the lighting and sound recordings. The basic outline of this film is the idea of reflecting a broken home through the use of the child and her drawings. This is portrayed well with a phone call between the mum and her friend in the background, which drops in important hints as to what is going on between her and her husband.
Not doing much at the moment. Scarlett's busy drawing. We're supposed to be going out, but that's obviously fallen through. No, I'm not bothered. It's just annoying. It's not like it's the first time, but it's okay.
The inspiration behind this film was the film and story of Matilda. The fact that she lived in an awfully broken home but managed to show her feelings through the use of books, but in our case the child uses drawings to express how she feels. The cultural consideration within the film is that of a middle-class English family, as shown in the set design and clothing choices made by the characters within it. I was really happy with the outcome of the film. I feel as if my use of set design and character is very powerful in the storyline, as the home is very nice and proper, which helps to suggest that money cannot buy happiness. The storyline of this film has a 3-act structure. There is a beginning in which everything seems okay, then the middle when the mum's conversation and child's drawings start to hint towards a broken marriage, and then the end where the marriage breaks off with the last line implying she's finished. However, within this film I feel that the dialogue could have been slightly clearer and a bit less scripted, and there could have been a larger range of shots to help intensify the idea of a perfect two broken home. The film covers realism as it's a real-life issue which is being hinted at, which implies that the target audience is based around parents, maybe even those in a similar circumstance. The film could have emphasised this English culture further with props such as cups of tea, however we were trying to make it more subtle. I feel that this film had a greater storyline structure than our previous films, as the mum's dialogue at the end allowed it to have a proper ending. Some could call it a cliffhanger, however I feel that it made it much more hard-hitting than if we were to try and drag it along. The character of the mum shows character development thoroughly. She starts by seeming quite in denial about the situation, however at the end she realises what is right and that she needs to end the marriage, as seen by one spoken line, "I don't think I can do this anymore."
I just don't think I can do it anymore.
This film also has an open ending, as it's not made completely clear what's going to happen to the characters at the end of the film, but throughout the whole film it is clear of the large use of conflict between the parents. One of the key things to notice within the film is the colour grading. At the start, when everything is okay, it's very bright and colourful, all the way down to the clothing she is wearing, but at the end it drastically changes to become darker and gloomy to reflect the surrounding bad atmosphere.